I drew a line here where this golfer's right leg is at setup. This is a good setup. Right shoulder's lower than the left shoulder, left hip is elevated. She's ready to attack the golf ball. But what happens is on her takeaway, she's going to drift well past that line and kind of end up with her weight shifted too far outside the back foot. So then she can't transfer the weight back forward again as effectively because she's got to get it to the inside to be able to push off. So let's see what happens here. Good movement into the shot. Not bad. Pretty athletic there. Turns into the shot nicely. But she's a little stuck. Not a lot of momentum. Notice that the right hip hasn't really engaged yet. So I'd like to see the right hip come through a little earlier. And also we'll notice here that the right hand is under the golf club. At this point, the back of the right hand should be facing the camera or even a little bit to the sky. Never got off onto that right. This golfer is using a unique setup style to ensure that the hands are in front of the face of the golf club at setup. Again, that goes back to the great Canadian golfer, Mo Norman. Let's go ahead and watch this swing. Starts the swing back by moving the head a little bit. That's okay. Keeps the head pretty well stationary. Gets a great transition and a turn. What we will notice, though, is that as he's coming into the impact position, notice the flex he's got on the shaft there. The shaft is loading back. And as he moves into the shot, right there, you can see that the shaft has really distorted forward. That tells you that he's decelerating the hands and the body, and the head of the club is trying to pass the hands, which it obviously is done here. Now he gets a good extension here. So what we need to get him to do is keep moving the hands through impact. Try to even accelerate them through to the finish more. Also, he did a pretty nice job here. He had a problem last week of chicken winging. Very little chicken wing there. Good extension of the right arm down the target line. In this setup, we can see we have just a little too much angle here in the knees. We'd like to get that angle to be just a little bit more upright. Whoops, that didn't work right. So from here to there, that's too much of a bend. Basically, what we want to do is we'd like to see our knees about over our shoelaces and our hip sockets over our ankle bones. So he's got to bring his butt in a little bit and get a little taller here. And we're going to see a nice takeaway. See, nice takeaway. Pretty good move right there. Now, at this point right now, the right elbow should be pointing more towards the ground. It's a little bit out behind him, which creates a thrust angle this way rather than down to the golf ball. So we need to get him to get his elbow in so he can pull down towards the golf ball. So let's see what happens on the way down. See, he's really pulling. Good move right there. Good rotation. Getting the right hand over the top. Turns on through it. Shows me his spikes. From a bad top of the swing position, he really made do. I would work a little bit on getting the right elbow down a little bit, or at least start bringing it down during the downswing. This is not your setup that's typical in golf today. There was a golfer out of Canada, Mo Norman, who would set up this way with the arms on a straight line, which you see like that. Typically, we would want more of an angle at the setup. Ideally, they call it a 144 degree angle, so the arms would be kind of down here and then up like that at that angle, something like that. So the arms are hanging freely down from the but this will work as long as she stays on that plane. So let's go ahead and watch the takeaway. Camera moves a little bit. So he stays right on the green line and right back down on the green line. That's called a nice single plane swing. What I would have her work on is here at the top of the backswing, try to have the lead shoulder pointing more to the golf ball instead of straight. If we drew a line on our lead shoulder now, one of the things we'd notice is that the line was this way, parallel to the ground, rather than on a line down to the golf ball. That's about the only thing I would suggest. Nothing wrong with a single plane setup as long as you return the club right back down that line again. See how she's doing it very nicely. Here we see a another golfer with a setup that has the golf club extend straight down the arms at a kind of a single angle. There's no wrist hinging at all here. Let's watch what happens when she takes the club back. There's a little lifting here instead of a turning. Notice how the left shoulder isn't really going down at all. And then she gets up pretty high and she stands straight up. So we'd like her to still be bent forward a little bit at this position here. Then she's going to bring the club back down. Pull the elbow into her right side. See that? That's a pretty good position there. If the head of the club was back here more, that would be better. But the arms are in a great position as she's coming in. And then she's going to cut across the ball a little bit and send it on down the golf course. That swing will work, but we need to keep her spine angle throughout the entire swing. With this golfer, we see another unusual setup, but there are some physical restrictions to what she can do. What we do want to try to get her to do, though, is to take the club back more on the red line. She takes that club on a sweeping move way inside like this. I want to show you here as I go back. You can see the club sweeps way to the inside, right about there. See how it starts going way to the inside? Then she has no choice but to loop it way up over the top and come down like she's chopping wood. See how the club is well above the red line? So it's coming down to the ball. So the club face is going to be shut down and the ball will not go in the air. So we want her to take the club back more on the red line and then route it down more on that line on the way back through. This is a very good setup. Hands are hanging nicely under the chin, the head is up, back's very flat. This is a very big guy with a very good setup, very athletic, very strong. Let's watch the swing in slow motion. See if the club stays above the red line beautifully. Drops back in. That's a classic swing. And we're going to look right here as he's coming into the impact position. Notice the shaft is going straight down the line. The only thing he could improve here would be to get a little bit more hip turn earlier, but still, this is really a nice golf swing. Very good. Good finish, good balance. Well done, and happy birthday. What we see here in this down the line version is a very inactive lower body on this swing. A decent takeaway, gets a good hinge, and then comes right through and just kind of slaps at the ball with his upper body. So when he comes into the impact position, he hasn't moved anything other than the arms into the shot. There's no transfer of weight that direction with his lower body.